Good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all to the third day of FTP on green communication. Let us begin with the session 1. Today we have with us Dr. Nikhil Mariwal. He is working as Assistant Professor and Head of Department Electronics and Communication Engineering, University Institute of Engineering and Technology, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. He did his PhD from National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra, in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. He did his post-graduation in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Institute of Advanced Studies in Education and did his BTech in Electronics and Instrumentation from MMEC Mulana Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. He has more than 19 years of experience in teaching and he has guided many graduate and postgraduate students. More than 31 students have completed their MTech dissertation under his guidance. His area of interest are software-defined radios, cognitive radios, soft computing, wireless communications, wireless sensor networks, fuzzy system design, and advanced microprocessors. He has published more than 5 book chapters in different international books, has authored more than 10 books with Pearson, Wiley, etc. He has more than 35 publications to his credit in reputed international journals and 20 papers in international and national conferences. He has filed 7 patents, out of which 5 patents have been granted and with 1 in Indian and 4 in international patents. He has been the chairman of special sessions in more than 14 international and national conferences and has delivered a keynote address at more than 7 international conferences. He has also acted as organizing secretary for more than 5 international conferences and 1 national conference. He is having additional charge of training and placement officer, UIET, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra, and heading the T&P cell for more than 11 years now. He is the single point of contact and head of local chapter of Swayam NPTEL, local chapter of UIET. He is also the single point of contact for Infosys Campus Connect program for UIET. He is also the reviewer of many reputed journals such as International Journal of Communication Systems, Wiley, IEEE Signal Processing Letters, International Journal of Measurement Technologies, and International and Journal of Organizational and End User Computing, Egyptian Informatics Journal elsewhere, Instrumentation Engineering, International Journal of Interactive Communication Systems and Technologies, Current Journal of Applied Science and Technology, UK. He has been awarded as the NPTEL Enthusiast for the year 2019-20 by NPTEL IIT Madras. He is also been awarded as the Career Guru of the Month award by Aspiring Minds. With this introduction, I welcome you, sir, for today's session. Sir, you can take over the session.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Now we are able to hear you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, it was the unmute part was disabled, so I was not able to Same. Thank you very much, ma'am, and thank you for your beautiful introduction for my side to the participants. So I'm very thankful to the college authorities for having organized this FDP on green communication in the tough times of the pandemic that is going on. So you're doing a wonderful job by organizing these kind of activities uh, for the participants, and it's great that such activities are involving all the faculty members, the research scholars from all over the country. So thank you very much for having me over for this particular talk, sir, and thanks for the introduction part. So I'll just share my screen. Kindly do let me know if you're able to see this or not.
Fine, sir.
Yeah. So I hope my screen is visible to you now.
Yes, sir, it is visible. So we can go with the
Great,
slideshow.
great. Thank you very much. So today, what we'll be talking about is we'll be talking about energy efficient transceiver design. So these are the designs that I have actually published and patented also. So I'll be discussing about all these aspects. The research has been helpful in earning my PhD, and just recently got another publication uh, with the energy efficient retina design for in WPC. So I'll be discussing the latest aspects around the energy efficient transceivers and how to effectively utilize them. So this talk mainly would concentrate on the transceiver design in the beginning. So I'll start with a concept called as SDR, or software defined radios. I hope many of you have already heard this name, the SDR part, and this is basically dealing with the software defined radio communications, which was basically first coined by Joseph Mottola. If you are not knowing this particular term, then I would request you to kindly, uh, when I forward my slides to you, the references are there, so you can definitely have a look over all the information that I'm trying to talk about. So Mottola gave a very interesting concept, and he talked about that the software-defined radio would intend to signal the shift from digital radios to multi-band, multi-mode, software-defined radios, right? So he says that the 80% functionality would be provided through software. And when I say the 80% functionality of the radio structures that we are talking about, that we see in hardware part, if it is provided through software, we will definitely have a word that we will be making all the radios energy efficient. Sorry, this is not working properly right now. I don't know you're able to see things clearly or not. Right. I'll use another thing. Energy efficient, right? The pen is basically slipping today. Nevertheless, we will be making energy efficient transceivers because we are already shifting from hardware to the software part, right? So before I move to the next slide, what I'll do is just to involve all the participants, I'll go to the chat box and I'll ask you a very simple question in the beginning itself, right? Before you are asking me, I'll just ask a question to you people. Anybody who can help me out and tell me that, see, we are starting with the 5G communications, right? And most of us are having mobile phones. We are using them. If anybody can help me out and say if the mobile phone that I'm using right now, basically I assume that you're using a 4G mobile phone, right? I'm just writing it 4G mobile phone, right? So anyone who can help me out and say how will it be possible for me to use the same 4G mobile phone for 5G communication? Anyone who can just talk or just type in the chat box. Sir, I hope they are able to unmute themselves or they can just type it, right?
Yes, sir, I muted them.
Okay. So another, I'll repeat it again.
You can put in chat box, sir.
Yeah. We are all using a 4G mobile structure. The mobile phone in our hands is 4G right now, Can we use the 5G services in that 4G mobile phone? So any of the participants who can just type in the chat box or say something about the question that I've just asked. Okay, I'm not getting any response right now. So I would again try and ask this question again. Will you be able to use your 4G mobile phone for 5G communications? No, we have to modify the existing structure. Okay, I got one of the responses. Thank you very much. Dr. Shobha is saying no. Right. Okay, another response, not possible. Thank you very much, Anita ji. Thank you for answering this. Not possible, right? So that means, okay. So there is a message. You can unmute yourself also to interact. So that is great. So yes, I've got few responses that it is not possible for us to use a 4G mobile phone for the 5G communications, right? Now, why this is so? Why this is so? Because the structures that we are using, the designs that we are using are all hardware based structures, right? They are basically bounded by the hardware limitations. Now, this particular concept that I'm giving you, or that Mitola actually gave, and then future researchers started working on it. This particular concept talks about changing the functionality from hardware to software. Now, if you see this particular definition, he's talking about that we will change the functionality of the existing hardware structure and make it 80% functional through software. So if this is done, then you may change any technology, you may bring any protocol, you may talk about any new structure being implemented, right? You will not have to change the existing hardware that you're using. What you need is you need just a software update. Do you get this? You still get it. You still get the updates, but they are for the software or the operating system that you're using, right? You're not getting any updates for the hardware part. So if hardware is made reprogrammable, or if the hardware or the physical layer functions of that particular hardware can be programmed, then these kind of structures or the e-waste that we are going to generate this kind of, right? We have already launched the 5G services in India. Some of the states or some of the cities are basically having a trial run on it. Now, when it is fully launched, right, by different companies, they're moving around, right? So when it is fully launched, how much e-waste would be generated? Uh, you can just imagine, because almost everybody is holding a mobile phone in their own hands, and if even half of them change it, right, and move towards the 5G technology, it will be very, very difficult to handle that e-waste, right? So this particular term, that is the SDR, is highlighting this part to the fullest, that you need not make any changes to the existing hardware and you will be able to formalize this thing. So definition of the SDR is given by SDR Forum. The Wireless Innovation Forum is basically one who is dealing with it, and they are under the group of IEEE P1900.1 group, right? So they say that a radio in which some or all the physical layer functions are software defined, right? They're defined through the software. So very first definition would cover was covering the frequency range from 2 megahertz to 2 gigahertz, right? Now we have increased it to higher ranges also, right? So the block diagram that I'm trying to show here is a very simple structure. Everybody who's dealing with communication part understands this. Those who are not even dealing with it, they can very easily understand this particular part. If you see over here, what we do is we send an input message which is decoded by an FEC or encoded by the FEC encoder. Then it is given to the digital modulation structure, where some modulation happens. Pulse shaping is performed onto that, and then digital to analog conversion is done, right? So once this is done, then the transmission is done through this antenna. Now, what we are saying is this particular thing entirely defined through software. Now, if we do it, we are saving a lot of hardware, we are saving a lot of energy, and while we are saving the energy, we are making it energy efficient and also green in structure, right? The same process, when it is transmitted, it has to be received by a receiver. If you see, the reverse process happens now. The receiver receives it, it performs the reverse from digital to analog. It is performing analog to digital now. Pulse shaping again is performed. The digital demodulation is done, and then the detection part is given, and then the FEC decoder gives out the required signal or the output that is desired, right? So now what we are doing here is we are actually performing all the actions through software. Now, very, very interesting. Now, this is entirely not done by the software, but again, I repeat, 80% of the functionality defined through software. The rest 20%, that is the antenna part or the transmission part, is still being done as the hardware component, right? So we can definitely do that. So that is why this block diagram talks about the software hardware co-implementation system, right? So what are the motivations and challenges behind this kind of a technology? How this can be a green technology and how this can help us reduce the e-waste generated, or how the improvement can be done very effectively. Now have a look over this particular part, right? So I have just searched out the literature for you and then try to describe these points in turn. The points are basically referring to what they are talking about. Why we are doing it? Because these days, what we are suffering through is we are suffering through limited bandwidth, computational complexity, low flexibility. Yes, we are definitely having low flexibility in our systems right now. Unanimity of services is not there. If you have to shift over from one technology to another, you have to change the hardware, right? So that is very, very difficult. The cost becomes high and we have limited functionality. So SDR is covering all the aspects and providing you a unanimous solution to all these problems, right? So that is why we are talking about these structures. Now, I'm not going into what we will be doing. This is the literature part that we have described here, and then how we are doing it. So I'll just move you towards the proposed system, right? The SDR transceiver, which is in turn a green transceiver for us, right? So this particular SDR transceiver is capable of performing simultaneous operations at multiple frequencies, at multiple frequency bands. Okay, again, I'll go back to the chat room before I show you the diagram over here, and I'll ask another question to you. Have you heard any of the examples of the technology that I'm right now talking about? Uh, anywhere around, right? You've heard about this thing? Anyone who can just type in the chat box, or they can unmute and let me know. Has anybody heard about this term somewhere? That we will be talking about a structure which is defined entirely through the software, or you've read somewhere that somebody is using it physically somewhere around, right? I assume you're all from the engineering side and engineering background, so I am just asking it, right? Just trying to ask the things. If possible, you can definitely answer the. I hope my voice is coming.
Yes, sir, it is audible.
That's great. That's great. So Rajeshwari ji, I'm still not able to hear your voice that much audible.
ಶಿಷ್ಯನು ಸಹ ಗುರುವಿನಂತೆ ಜ್ಞಾನದ ಪ್ರತೀಕ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಅದರ ಅನುಭವ
I don't know what she's saying. Rajeshwari ji, you're saying something?
ಶಕ್ತಿಯು ದೈವಿಕ ಸದ್ಗುರುವು ನಿರ್ಗುಣ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಮಾನವರನ್ನು ಉತ್ತರಿಸಿ ಲೋಕೋದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡಲು ಅವನ ಮಾನವನಾಗಿ ಅವತರಿಸುತ್ತಾನೆ.
Unable to understand. Or accidentally she is switched on her mic. Sir, can you just ask her?
ಸಹ ಅದೇ ಸ್ವರೂಪವುಳ್ಳವನೇ ಆದರೆ ಅವನು ಅಸಂಖ್ಯಾತ ಜನ್ಮಗಳೆತ್ತಿ ಶುದ್ಧ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಬರೆಯದೆ ಅಜ್ಞಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರು
Sir, can you ask her to switch off or?
No, sir, I will mute everybody, sir. This is what is the problem.
Okay,
If we
okay. Got
unmute
it, got it.
everybody, they will be,
I got it,
yeah,
sir.
I
I
think
got
better
it. Right.
they can chat, sir.
Right. So that will be easier for us
Yeah.
also to understand. Right. I'll use that particular thing. So just a request from my side, if you are hearing me again, has anybody heard about this term called as the SDR, or somewhere we are using it? You've heard around. Anyone can just say yes or no. That would also solve the purpose. See, I would like to have the interactive session rather than just me talking about, right, or just saying certain things. If you can just discuss and talk, it will be very interesting, because we are not seeing each other physically, right? Yes, sir. Software defined radio we have heard. Okay, Arvindji, thank you very much. Then that's great. So if you have heard this, anywhere that you feel that we are using this around, right? Definitely, you must have heard it. Anywhere, any field that you feel that we are still using it, practically we are using it. Okay, I'm just waiting for your answer. No, okay, energy. You're saying efficient channel utilization in mobile communication. Okay, that's great. That's great that you talked about that. Right. Fine enough, sir. Thank you. RTL SDR we've used for simple receivers. That's great. That's great. RTL SDR is being utilized for that particular purpose. Right, sir. So fine. So there is some input coming. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly move towards the next part. What you can search for is a term that I'm writing over, stars V. Right, stars V. Now you can search it later on. You'll find this somewhere around Bell. Uh, I hope everybody has heard this company, Bell. Bell Panchkula is generating or is producing this kind of a structure, right? So they are basically into producing these kind of structures for army. Now, why I'm talking about army right now here is very important. Army people are the ones who require this kind of a structure, right? Very they are carrying very bulky things in all, right? So to avoid those things, they should be given something which is not that bulky and which is very interoperable in nature. If it is interoperable, means that they are able to switch over the frequencies at any point of time, and they can speak to each other without any interference happening inside, and it is very secure also, right? So these are some of the points that are basically being given by the army people also when they are talking about development of any communication systems for themselves, right? So here the SDR becomes very important. I should say the US Army uh, had started this project, right? Very effectively. When they started this project, they never thought about. I don't know whether they had thought about this or not, but the entire communication these days by the NATO forces is being done with the help of these devices, right? So if you see uh, this particular slide over here that I'm talking about, sir, I hope my voice is coming clearly. I'm just hearing something.
Yes, sir, your voice is audible clearly.
Okay, sir. Okay, right, sir. Right, sir. Right. So this particular structure, if you see over here, what I'm trying to show you is the performance which is being generated by the SDR transceiver system, which has simultaneous operations at multiple frequency bands at any given point of time. So what I have taken is, what I have taken over here is, if you see MFSK, MPSK, the MQAM thing, right? So these are the modulation schemes that you see will be targeted, and what we'll be using is we'll be using the FEC coding, right? We are using this FEC coding for the security purpose. This particular part over here is basically helping us in secured transmission structures. And when we talk about secure transmission structures, we are talking about the transmission which cannot be heard by anybody, right? So how does it work? Now I'll just show you the flow chart over here. Again, that same diagram has been implemented over here. The point is that what we are trying to do in this particular part is, this is the hierarchy. I'll show you this practical system designed in LabVIEW. I don't know how many of you have heard about this term called as LabVIEW, but this is one of the best environments, the GUI environments, to test the things effectively, and then uh, see what can be the best solution for this particular part, right? So this particular generic transceiver would help in analyzing different modulation schemes. As you see, it helps in analyzing or securing the data using turbo codes and convolution codes over here, if you can see it over here, right? And when we are talking about the security part, we are also talking about viewing or analyzing the results through BER versus EV5 and the constellation diagram, right? Now, if you see, this is the generic transceiver over here. I'll show you this practically also. These are the three modulation schemes that we are referring to over here. If you see it, these are the three modulation schemes: the FSK, TSK, and QAM. Now, what you need to do is you need to just select this modulation part. The PN sequence order and the message symbols are also reconfigurable over here. If you want to use the encoding and decoding, you can switch on this button, or if you don't want to use it, you can just switch it off, right? Convolution and Viterbi decoding, again, whatever you want to select, which noise parameter and the frequency offset you want to select, what filter you want, what symbol rating. So everything over here is reconfigurable. If you see, the message transmitted can be received and seen over here only. And this particular output curve that you see is the BER curve, right? It is the bit error rate curve. You can see the constellation part as well as the structure of the eye diagram also, right? So what I'll do is I'll show you practically what I'm talking about right now. This is a transceiver that has been built over certain things, and then we have analyzed the uh, basically the structure together over here. So just give me a second. I should have done it earlier. These are the results. Just a second. Just a second. I'll just search it out. Right. So this is basically, I'll just run it for you. It is not opening right now. Sorry for the inconvenience happening. This is the test JIT code. Today it is not opening right now. I don't know what is the problem happening. I just try and run it. Right. So if you see now, this is for the QAM part. If I select, say, PSK, the output of PSK would open in turn, and then similarly the FSK part would open, right? So the correct file I'm unable to locate right now, so that is why the thing is not running. Nevertheless, now if you see the transmitted bits, the transmitted symbols, the I diagram, the bit error rate, right? You can see everything over here. Similarly, you can see it over here, right? Because now it is not operating, so there is nothing coming in QAM because our system has FSK modulation selected. If I select the QAM part again, you will see the QAM screen opening, and this is running now, right? So you will see a constellation diagram. I can change it. I can change it from 16 to 4. So now, if you see, the 4 dots would appear. The bit error rate would also come. Yes, this is the bit error rate. If I start the phase tracking, you'll be able to see the received bits, the demodulated symbols over here. Right, they're coming. They'll just take some time to show. This is the received part and the received constellation, right? So this is the data. Now this is entirely secure. Nobody can see it until and unless somebody has the key available to us, right? So if I want to interfere in this particular system of transmission, it will be very difficult for me to understand what kind of data is being sent, right? Because it is being sent in this particular form. Do you understand this now? So this is the transceiver part, that how it basically looks like, and how the front panel would work. You can change all the parameters over here. You can change from turbo code to convolution code. You can change the filters present. You can change or move the EV band node and the frequency offset according to you, and then it will still identify the phase difference, right? So automatically, intelligently, it will understand what you want and how the transmission would occur. Now, this is the basically the thing that we want to we needed to understand while starting with the green transceivers, and SDR plays a very major role in analyzing this kind of a structure. So you can see the output results that we have shown over here. Interestingly, if you see, the chart talks about the bandwidth 10 kilohertz to 10 gigahertz. Now this is the range of this transceiver, right? The data rate is around 20 Mbps that we got right now, right? So this data rate is also of utmost importance as far as we people are concerned, because what we need to understand over here is that how this particular part would behave as far as the data rate. If the data rate is increased, so because everybody is worried about the data rate part these days, right? So if the data rate goes low, then it is of no use for us, right? So the data rate achieved here is also quite good, as you can see, because what we have in turn achieved is 20 Mbps, right? Wide applications, bit error rate very sufficient for us, which is basically of the nature of say 10 raised to power minus 5. The EV by node is very good that we have got. Very easy implementation, and all the three modulation schemes that we normally have would be covered in this particular part, right? So this particular table talks about how the things can be very effectively worked out by this particular concept of SDR. And if you monitor or compare these modulation schemes, because right now this comparison is talking about the QAM with the PSK and with the FSK, right? The QAM part is basically the best that you get out of this particular aspect, and the best part is the MRA modulation schemes can be implemented very efficiently and effectively, right? So this was the phase one where the simulation part was done by us. The simulation showed that yes, the concept can work and we can define the hardware components in the software. So when we do it, it becomes very easy and effective for us to even change the things, right? So the code can be modified very effectively inside the system, and we can change this SDR for the spectrum sensing applications also. And if new protocol comes, we can effectively change and give the updates to it, so that the SDR is able to accommodate the newer Wi-Fi protocol or the other protocols that are coming for transmission purpose. Now, the next important part was how to integrate or test this system in real time. So what was done was the Wi-Fi protocol was selected for real-time transmission testing, and then when we talk about the basically the testing of this particular term called as the real-time system, when Wi-Fi protocol is the one that we are basically referring to, right? So Wi-Fi protocol means, I hope everybody knows this term called as Wi-Fi protocol. Sir, I hope my voice is coming. Actually, I was hearing something other than that.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Yeah.
So what we are doing is we are trying to identify some real-time protocols for transmission of data in real time. So what has been done in this case is a WIS5 210 test jig has been taken. Now this is a test jig which is reprogrammable in nature, and it will be it can be basically utilized for purpose of testing the system in real time, right? So now if you see, the diagram here would talk about the test jigs in this case, right? I hope everybody is able to see this. Now this is the front panel module of the front panel module, where you see what we are doing is we are trying to analyze the data and then transmit it in real time, right? So again, I'll show you the transmitter section. Yes, here it is. Now you can see it. So if you see, we have two protocols, Zigbee and Wi-Fi. We are talking about the two protocols. You can give the IP address here. When you connect the hardware, the part number will be displayed, right? Now when you go to the file type, you see random data, text and image. Now whatever you type over here would be shown in the received text box, right? That you see. Same is with the image part. So this particular part over here is basically representing the transmission to be done in real time through Wi-Fi or even Zigbee protocol, right? So the very first thing that you need to select is Wi-Fi or Zigbee. So we have tested it for the two things. Zigbee is the protocol that is the latest protocol which we are using for home automation systems. Wi-Fi, we are normally referring it to the surroundings that we are using. We are already looking forward for different Wi-Fi networks, right? Demodulation part and the output parameters. So whatever you see, because I'm not having the hardware right now to run it, I'll show you the practical results that we got while we were using it for the Zigbee and the Wi-Fi. Now, if you see, when you connect the hardware with this particular system, the GUI environment would identify it with the COM port. The baud rate can be selected, the data bits can be selected. Similarly, timeout and bytes to be read, right? So everything has to be selected by the user. This is the test jig which will be utilized. Sorry, I just moved away. Now, if you can see, very simple. You can connect it directly with the USB port. This hardware, and this is the transmission part, right? So you can connect it with the hotspot of your mobile to actually check whether the transmission is happening or not. So this is what we did. We sent the data through this particular device and received it through the hotspot of our mobile into our system and analyzed it, right? So we were able to receive the correct information in a very short amount of time and without wasting much energy, right? So that is what we were able to do, and this is the constellation diagram with the output parts that you can see have been achieved for different types of transmissions. Again, the same comparison was done for the real-time testing, right? And when the bits were increased, we were getting the error rate to our higher side, but yet we were able to get the things very effectively near to the simulated results. If we compare them, they're very near to them, right? So the green transceiver was actually working. Now this is the low cost green transceiver, right? The army people, what they are using is stars, very costly affair, right? A very heavy in nature because it carries a very huge battery, right? Here, what we have done is we have connected, we have used this test jig that is easily available in the market, and even if you see, I'll just highlight this for you people. If the things have to be added or changed, now you see things can be, or another card can be attached over it, right? So this CPU is reprogrammable. It can be reprogrammed according to my application, and the transmission can be changed at any point of time, right? So this is how the Wi-Fi results came for the Wi-Fi transmission. Right now, this is the diagram over here. If you see it, this is the real-time testing done in our lab, right? Now here, if you see, they have been kept very close to each other, but they are not connected at all. This test jig is connected with this PC. The data is being sent from this end using 4 QAM. If you see, the eye diagram is here, and received on this PC. This is the constellation diagram that you get over here. This is the eye diagram and this is the bit error rate, right? Now, if you compare the two, the exact data is received here, right? Similarly, the image analysis can also be done for this particular part. The next part was to analyze for the Zigbee protocol. Now, again, XB Pro was the device that was used for this kind of a transceiver. Now, XB Pro is again a hardware which can be easily found out in the market, where you can use it for transmission of data using the Zigbee part, right? So the selection of modulation scheme again is independent. These are the two Zigbee modules that you see over here. This is one, this is one. They're connected to different PCs, right? You can see it over here. The transmitter part is transmitting the information using this particular antenna, and if the other antenna is in the range, it will catch, but the data will only be decoded or analyzed by the screen once the key is available with the system, right? So the modules are identified, the transmission is identified, and the required key is generated. Once the key is there, you will be able to see the information. Otherwise, any transceiver can come into picture, but it will not be able to decode it. So it is a secured transmission. It is a secure transmission. It is a low power consumption transmission, right? And it is very fast in use, right? So these are the aspects that this particular transceiver system is helping us analyze and cover in the part. The same thing we repeated it with this hardware called as USRP. I don't know how many of you have heard this, but I still assume many people must have heard this term called as USRP. It's Universal Synchronous Receiver Peripheral Transmitter, and basically it is a transceiver in its term, right? So many IITs are working of establishing a 5G lab using this USRP, right? So we conducted an experimentation, because this is a generalized software defined radio or an SDR being developed by the NI instruments. Uh, Basically, the USRP is marketed by them, right? So the interesting part is that you can either connect it with an Ethernet cable, or you can use it with the antenna part, right? So the specific module, again, the same module. If you see, I'm not changed the interface over here, right? The interface is very similar. The only thing that we need to change is we need to change the specified message that you want, right? The transmitted bits over here. You can change it to text. I've written some text over here, if you see, right? So this text needs to be transmitted using the modulation scheme. Using this modulation scheme. If you want to encode it, it can be encoded. If you want to decode, if you don't want to encode it, you may omit this button, right? Similarly, an image part can also be translated. Now, this particular structure shows the constellation diagram, the bit error rate, the received signal, and of the data that you send, and the I diagram. The eye is quite open here. Once we increase the bits, the eye becomes closed in this case, indicating that a lot of errors are there, right? So the errors are being removed constantly by the algorithms that are implemented and fed into this. This is the laboratory experiment that was performed with the USRP. Now, if you see it over here, it has been connected with the Ethernet cable. 100 Mbps is the speed. If you can imagine the 100 Mbps, I have never used it in internet transmission, but 100 Mbps is what you get as far as the Ethernet cables are concerned. This is the physical connection with the system, and the transmitted and received antennas are over here. The system comes with different antenna configurations. You can change the frequency, and you can change the amount of information to be transmitted at the particular point, right? So again, this system transmits the data using the capabilities of this USRP over here. This USRP is connected with the other system, which is receiving the information in the encoded form and decodes it here, right? Again, I repeat, if you want to change any protocol, you want to change any system entirely, because this system is being monitored through software, right? This is a software controlled system, so you can change it. The hardware will still remain the same. The hardware is same. It can perform 4G transmissions, it can perform 5G transmissions, it can perform 6G transmissions also. I'm not changing it in any point of time, right? So the concept is, as you see, this is the output. This is the image, if you see, encoded image, and this is the decoded image over here. The text is in this form. Nobody can read it. If I have the correct key, now you'll be able to read the text, right? So this is a secured transmission also, and it can be monitored when you read it, when you sent it, and how much time it took to you for you to actually analyze the data, right? So again, this was the fourth phase where the green transceivers were taken into consideration for practical implementation of the terms, right? Now I'll just show you one of the latest things that we have achieved over here. This is the paper, the RF energy harvesting paper that has been published recently. I'll just show you that also. Uh, Sir, I hope my screen is visible, and I'm just moving towards this side, or I'll just show. Sir, I hope my screen is visible, sir. The page is coming over. Hello. Hello. Sir, are you able to hear me? I don't know. Okay, visible. Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So recently published this paper in WPC. I think it must be here only. All right. So this is the paper energy harvesting system. Again, this is for green transceiver systems over here, and if you want, it can be downloaded freely by you people. All right. So recently, 18th August is the one that it came online, and it is a good journal, right? So I felt that the work has been acknowledged over here. Now I'll just try and explain this paper to you, where we are talking about designing of energy efficient transceiver uh, for the wireless sensor networks, right, using the Rectina. Right. So we'll just move around and I'll just show you what we are talking about over here. The RF energy harvesting is one of the hot topics going on these days, right? But prior to RF harvesting, what was done was entirely the things were based on the hardware structure, and before this, the fabricated designs that we had built were basically not green in nature, and they were using the energy, a lot of energy for transmission and receiving purposes, right? So the things were that why they were using the things were identified in nature, and then we tried to build a Rectina for that. So significant improvements were made to the energy harvesting circuit. Like if you see over here, the circuit is carrying this inductor, the capacitor, another inductor over here, the resistance over here, right? So the circuit from this particular end was improved to this particular part. The improvements to RF energy were made using the NMOS rather than the RLC circuits that were being utilized, and self-biasing circuits were used. Self-biasing is very important in any structures. The modifications to the impedance matching were also done to reduce the parasitics that come for voltage doublers, right? And new techniques were developed to reduce the body effects that were coming for the retina part, right? So self-biasing circuit means that the biasing is not required, right? It is not required for the circuits. So the performance improvements, definitely we got a huge performance improvement in the circuit that we were trying to plan, and this led us to uh, actually gather a circuit in this particular form, where hybrid ambient low frequency, low intensity vibration energy scavenger could be implemented, right? Scavenger means we are trying to get the energy from the system on which we are working with, right? So variable capacitor, the piezoelectric springs, the supercapacitors were utilized for this particular design, right? And the piezoelectric springs basically help in pre-charge or supplies the voltage to the electrostatics. It controls the voltage signals to the charge part. The variable capacitor pumps in the primary energy conversion and it shuttles in the coupling mass, right? The control electronics basically charges and discharges the MOS switches that we are using, replacing the RLC circuit, and the peak detector is the one where we are talking about differential pair or the supercapacitor, right? So this particular paper basically talks about development of energy harvesting system designed and optimized for high bandwidth retina being utilized in wireless sensor networks. Now, very interesting. We have practically tried to implement this, utilize this in WSS, right? The proposed system, yes, definitely, when analyzed, has helped us in understanding that we have effectively reduced the energy consumption, also gathered the energy, right? We've generated the energy. So what we did in this particular paper is that we have designed a retina using the HFSS and combined it with MATLAB. The earlier design was in LabVIEW. This design is being implemented through HFSS because we designed the antenna and then analyze it in the MATLAB software. So Retina basically designed here consists of high bandwidth system, which is working both for narrowband as well as for broadband structure, right? So the earlier researchers were talking about Retina systems for narrowband as well as the broadband systems, and the frequency range that we could achieve in this particular system was from 800 megahertz to 7 gigahertz. Now 7 gigahertz right now is not that high for any Retina system, but yes, still we were able to actually get good results to this. This is the interface showing us between the MATLAB and the HFSS part, the code being combined together, and we get this code run in the MATLAB form to generate the output. This is the Retina design. If you see, you can see the Retina structure being implemented through HFSS in the 3-axis, right? This particular structure talks about RF generation in the particular RF signal radiated by mobile phones, the GSM, the WLAN, whatever may be the structure, right? So RF signal, whosoever device is generating, we are using that broadcasting system, and we are not getting. Basically, it is not guaranteed that you will get the entire thing, right? So we are trying to generate the energy from the RF being generated by all these devices. So RF signal basically cannot be considered as an arbitrary signal, hence the RF is generated in accordance with the required communication, right? So the next part talks about the development of the phase rectifier. This phase rectifier is being designed using the Schottky diode, right? We have already replaced the RLC circuit. We are using the NPN transistors or the diodes in this case, and it is used for the reverse breakdown voltage, right? Because of its reverse breakdown voltage, we are using the Schottky diode as the breakover voltage structure, and for working on high RF frequencies, right? So if you see, I'll show you this phase rectifier over here. The biasings have been removed, interestingly, that I told you, right? There is only a DC voltage source because we had to use this RL network over here. Other than that, whatever you see, the diodes are here. The voltage measurement is given. The AC is supplied to this, and the phase is rectified in this, right? So this circuit is behaving much better than the earlier circuits that were proposed and designed, right? So the increased input power will helps to drop the RJ value, right? So there is a formula in this case. I won't go into the mathematical details of designing of green transceivers or using the mathematical part. The paper is there for you to see. The important part is the optimal rectification efficiency achieved is more than 67%. This is very high for any retina, and the power density that we got was 0.1 microvolt per centimeter square, right? So, and that too in the range of up to 7 gigahertz, right? I've written 6 gigahertz because we never tested it for 7 gigahertz, but yes, it can go to that particular point. So, single phase control rectifier that was used for this particular design gives a firing angle, a frequency, and a pulse width, right, to this slider gain. Everything is given to this particular part. Now, this is all designed in the MATLAB Simulink part. So, P1, P2 are the ones, again, they are working as the diode structures that we were using for the phase designer, and then this RL circuit, right? So, again, if you see, the phase controlled rectifier is being utilized for controlling the single phase output. Now, these are the return loss and the radiation loss that were received by our system, the gain and the directivity performance of the antennas. Similarly, the radiation pattern of the proposed antenna. This is very similar to all the practical antennas that we are using, right? So, when you see the radiation pattern, you see that the signal is transmitted correctly and it is being received by the perfect form. The important point to talk about here is that how the retina system is generating output voltage through the RF. Now, this is the chart, RF power versus time, right? So, we are getting some output, right, in the form of a DC output for single phase rectifier. So the antenna generated output for us, sorry, retina. I'm talking about the retina generated the required output for us, and this required output basically can also be increased. Now we are working to increase this system. Now how it will be done? Again, future retina systems will be the ones that you will see in your mobile phones, you will see in your laptop, you will see everywhere around. You won't require to charge the things. They will generate the basically the signal from the received signal itself and then charge your batteries, right? So this is how effectively the things can be done. This is something about the future work where we can ramp up the RF SX or the RF digital part, the SX or ASI, CS or antenna and battery basically play a huge important role while we are talking about the systems being worked around in this green environment. Now there is a summit going on these days where they have a huge discussion on micro batteries, right, and supercapacitors. Now these are again very hot topics these days, right? You can just note them down. Supercapacitors. If you have something related to this, immediately can be published, right? So why? Because they can store energy to huge amount. If you have energy available in the environment and you can tap it, you can tap it with the retina systems, right? Retina can help you tap the energy and store it in the supercapacitors and then later utilize it. So energy harvesting systems using the RF and MEMS are very, very popular these days. But yes, a lot of work needs to be still done. So these are some of the aspects that you can work with. Test the RF energy harvester, use the RF energy harvester with to charge batteries, perform RF ambient energy survey for adaptive designs, MEMS simulations, MEMS design, MEMS fabrications. Again, when I talk about all these terms, I'm talking about green technology, right? The technology which is not generating any residual effect in case, right? So here they are the different papers that have been studied, the references that have been taken into consideration, right? So huge references have been taken. So that's it from my side. Now again, I can open this.
Hello, sir. Nikhil, sir. Hello. Dear participants, wait for a minute. I think connection is disconnected. Sir is trying to connect.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, I got disconnected. I hope you're able to hear my voice, sir.
Yes, sir. We are able to hear, sir. Please, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir. I'm very sorry I got disconnected. Some connection problem happened. So, sir, I would just like to end the talk here only because I have finished out the things. I can show you the practical implementation of the papers over here, right? So, because if you implement it in real time, the suggestion to all the participants here is that if you are able to work on to these issues, right? I've given you some hot areas over here. There are 84 participants I can see are here. And if you see, this is one of the latest publications that I've got in the energy harvesting system only, right?
Sir, I think you're not presenting.
Okay, okay, okay. Oh, sorry, sir. I'll just share my screen again.
Yeah.
Are you able to see it now, sir?
We are not able to see. Yeah, your slide is visible, sir.
Okay, okay. Now, is this screen visible?
Okay, sir. Yeah. Now paper we are able to see, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So that is what I was trying to tell you. So we have a group where we are working in now development of this retina design into practical structures, right? So if you can work with some designs of your own where you can save the energy and reduce the cost also, right? So I've given you some of the solutions for this kind of a thing: SDR or CR for spectrum sensing, or retina for energy generations, right? So all these aspects are pretty interesting and then can help you fetch good papers in good journals, right? The important part is good journals can publish it without even getting comments on that, because if you can produce good results in that, if you can produce practical devices. So we have got some patents also, and we have got some practical designs work for the paper. So publications definitely are helping us out for analyzing that yes, our work is going in right direction, and then we apply for the patent part of that, right? So thank you very much, sir. I would like all the participants. I'll open this session for question answers, right? If there are any, I can just show you the contact number and the mail ID, and kindly you can open the talk for from the participant side now, sir. It will be easier to understand what they have understood, and if they want to ask something.
Yes, dear participants, forum is open for you people. You can uh, discuss your queries with the speaker. You can unmute yourself and you can discuss. So can we reduce the hardware requirement till antenna, or is it till mixer circuit?
Pardon, sir. Can you just repeat it again?
In SDR,
Yes, sir.
the hardware can be implemented by using software, no? Is it done till antenna or till mixer circuit?
Right, sir. Antenna cannot be implemented through software, sir.
Yeah, that is
That
fine,
is
sir.
yes, yes.
Till
So,
antenna it is done, or I'm asking before antenna.
sir, we are aiming to reduce it till analog to digital and digital to analog conversion, right?
Means ADC and DAC, is it done by using software or still hardware?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Reconfigurable ADC and DAC are developed, right? Which can work for any of the part. The point is still we are relying for digital to analog and analog to digital converters on basically hardware devices, right? We still don't have that. Though many people have proposed reconfigurable designs for DAC and ADC, right? But still, a lot of work has to be done in that particular aspect. Yes, the modulation schemes and the other parts have definitely been implemented very effectively. And see, sir, now what I'm trying to tell you by these two concepts is SDR would be basically talking about a concept where you are implementing through software, right, sir? It still requires energy. So now, if you can build an retina for that particular system, which can generate the energy for the system, you see how energy efficient and how green communication effectively can be implemented by combining the two. I hope you've got it, sir.
Fine, sir. Is it possible to design for multi-bands, that reconfigurability? Hello, am I audible, sir? Hello, sir. Hello, Dr. Nikhil, sir. Hello. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience, participants. Please be there. I think he will join back. The speaker will join back. Some network issues from his side.
Sir, are you able to hear me now, sir?
Yes, sir. I am able to hear, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So, sir, I was trying to show the system to you. If there is any question in between from the participant side, I'm welcome to that, sir. In the
Yes,
meantime,
sir.
I'll just open the code. Similarly, you can ask the participants.
Yeah, dear participants, if you have any questions, please ask the speaker.
In the meantime, I'll just open this, sir.
Fine, sir.
So, sir, you have opened the chat box for the questioning or what, sir?
Yeah, in chat box, nobody has asked any questions, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Right, sir.
Sir, can you just tell what are the different types of SDRs are available in market? Uh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you
Yes, sir. I'll just highlight the thing. I was just trying to open the code so that it will be easier for everybody to see for what we are running. Actually, I just missed the folder right now.
but you are not presenting.
Uh, yes, sir. Just a second. I'll just open the thing and I'll just present the screen also. Are you able to see the screen now, sir?
No, sir, you are not presenting.
No, I have just presented it, sir. Are you able to see the screen, sir?
Yeah, you have opened the chat box window.
No, no, sir. Are you able to see my screen
Yeah,
now?
now we are able to see the slides, but again went off.
Okay, okay. Now is it visible?
Yeah, now your PPT is visible, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So, see, sir, I was trying to tell about that. There are two concepts, right? The first concept is the software-defined radio or the SDR part. The second one is the Retina part. Now, if we combine the two together, right? So I've given you an example of SDR. Now, this was the SDR part. The second part is the RF energy harvesting made of Retina. Now, I showed you a paper, right, where we have developed a Retina for wireless sensor networks, right? Now, if this Retina is combined with the SDR concepts, where SDR is requiring the energy and the energy is being supplied directly by Retina system only, right? And you don't have to bother about providing the energy to the system, right? It is generating the energy from the required RF frequencies being generated because it is high RF front end coming into picture, right? So if you are able to develop this kind of an interface together, we will be able to actually meet all the energy requirements of the entire system using without supplying it with extra voltage of battery, right? So we're reducing the size. When we are reducing omitting the battery from the system, we are making it green in structure and we are saving the environment also accordingly, right? So I just gave you how we had interfaced the antenna design with HFSS software and simulated it in MATLAB. So it worked, right? So similarly, the things can be implemented with SDR also. We can design or we can connect this particular structure developed in the HFSS part and transfer it using the LabVIEW and then combine together to analyze whether the system would be practically possible or not. Right, sir?
Sir, again you stopped
Uh,
sharing.
no, sir. I just came back to the chat window to analyze whether there is any question regarding this or not, because somebody had asked about that.
Uh-huh. I'm not finding any questions in
So,
chat box.
right, sir. Right, sir. So the RF part where RF frequency is being generated in the system can be effectively tapped in by the retina system to ensure that you develop the green transceivers, right? Also, the SDR concept will help us ensure that we are going to this particular point. So the very first diagram that I showed you, I'll just move back in the presentation, right? And I'll just come back here in the very first diagram that I showed you. Right. So this is the stage. If you talk about this particular aspect over here, barring this end, barring this particular point, barring this point, everything can be defined through software. Now we can define everything through this particular, all this DAC, pulse shaping, digital modulation, FEC encoder, the message signal definitely is the software part, right? So if you see, everything can be defined through this particular part. Now, yes, antenna definitely has to be there, and if we interface the retina system,
Sir, if I want
with
to work for
this
multi-band,
particular
this
system,
one, sir, do we need a different,
pardon?
if you want to work for multi-bands, do we need this one or
Right,
only
sir.
single, this one is enough?
No, sir. This one is this much is enough, sir. The point is, because it is being defined by software, you can change or you can update this, right, according to the band that you want to use.
Means till what
You get
frequency
this?
bands we can vary, sir?
Sir, we can start from, I told you, we can start from 10 kilohertz and go up till 50 gigahertz. Right, sir?
Okay, by using software, we will be able to do these changes.
We will be able to manipulate any changes that you want, sir. Say if you want that the transmission range should only
But that
be
RF
from
front
6
end and,
gigahertz to 10.
sir, is a transmit RF front end,
Pardon,
receive
sir?
RF front end should support, no, sir?
Definitely, sir. That is what I'm saying. Now, this particular part should support that, right? If we can have a structure which can support transmission, say up to 10 gigahertz, right? We can definitely have that. So if we have this, you can transmit or receive any kind of information accordingly, right? And if retina system is interfaced with this particular system, you can provide the energy requirements of the SDR directly from the retina rather than supplying it from the battery system. Do you get this now?
Pardon me, sir?
Hello?
Yeah.
Sir, what I'm saying
Yes,
is,
sir.
if the transmitter front end is, yes, sir, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, tell me, sir, you were saying something.
Sir, I am trying to say that if the transmitter receiver front end is incorporating frequencies up to say 10 gigahertz, right? If this is the capability of the system, now you can, because this is not reconfigurable. The problem is that this particular system is not reconfigurable, right? And we cannot make it because this is entirely dependent on the hardware. But yes, you can change it. You can change it. The
But
other
antenna is
system,
reconfigurable, no, sir?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
See, sir, the point is 80% system becomes reconfigurable. If it becomes reconfigurable, then what happens? You are easily able to change or manipulate the system according to what you want. You don't have to replace the hardware. Do we get this? And when we are into a system where we are not able to, or where we have developed the conditions where we can't, we don't have to replace the hardware, then you can definitely make changes to it and you can analyze it. Now you were asking about some systems, DARPA, DARPA, right? If you visit that particular site, so the US Army is using it very effectively for their manipulation. In Afghanistan, they were utilizing this SDR to the fullest, where they were not finding towers to be plotted or things very effectively because of the terrain, right? So they were using this SDR technology in the best part where communication was happening and no militant could hear around what was happening in that place, right? So this is a secure communication over the air. The updates can be transmitted directly as per your convenience, right? So say if I want to shift over from 4 QAM to 8 QAM now, so I don't have to tell anybody. I just shift it over, and the other receiver incorporates it according to the received signal, right? It is intelligently analyzing and monitoring that yes, it has the received signal has now shifted from 4 QAM to 8 QAM, so it has to shift over, right? So this is the thing happening.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. So there are many systems, sir. What I can do is I can just give you a website where I'll just show you. If you see the SDR systems, if I write it over here, used by US military. So they have a complete lab, sir, which is working on to this particular aspect, right? So SDR in military and aerospace beyond technical part. This is basically a journal over here. So the latest airplane Rafale is also utilizing these features, right? So you can see all these web pages over here. So NATO, as I told you, is hugely investing in SDR. They are hugely investing in even the retina systems, which can generate energy, high capacity devices, right? So US military was the first one to have actually developed any SDR system practically and use it, right, sir? So DARPA net was the one, basically the systems which were being utilized by the US military in tandem for their tactical radio systems were replaced by the SDRs, right? So you can visit all these web pages. A lot of information is available over the military applications being utilized by the US Army, right? So they are still using it, and they are into the next stage of the SDR systems where they are incorporating the retina system with that. So energy harvesting when combined with this would prove to be a foolproof solution for any army that is working in any tactical area, right, sir?
Sir, what about commercial applications of SDR, sir?
Sir, these are commercial applications only, but they are developed entirely for the military part right now. And soon you will see the very first question that I asked. Now, if you are able to, if you want to switch over to a 5G network, a mobile phone, right? If you want to switch over to a 5G network, you will have to replace your mobile phone, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So if you have a phone which is incorporating SDR technology inside it, you won't have to replace it. What you need to do is you have to just incorporate and update to the SDR phone or SDR mobile phone, right? And you will be able to utilize the features of 5G technology without changing the existing hardware. Again, I repeat.
But the present 4G mobile handset or even base stations will not have this SDR, sir.
No, sir. I don't want the base stations to change. This is the beauty about this, right? See, the 5G technology, yes, definitely they have to incorporate the transmission system. I'm not talking about the transmission system to be changed, right? I'm talking. See, the towers are limited. Mobile phones are countless, sir. You cannot even count them right now. Now, if I suddenly move from 4G to 5G, 40 crore mobile phones are dumped. So that is a huge e-waste. Now we are talking about green technology to be implemented. This SDR can be a boon. We can replace those mobile phones, even the 5G mobile phones right now. If they are based on SDR technology, the next coming 6G technology, we will not have to change the mobile phone again. This is the thing,
No, sir. My
right, sir?
question is the present 4G mobile handset will be based on HDR only, no?
Yes, sir. No, sir. It
Yeah.
is not based on SDR. This is the point.
So
If it
SDR is
would
not,
have been based on SDR, then you will. Pardon me, sir.
means at present SDR is not yet implemented in real time, sir.
No, sir. It is not being utilized in. See, sir, if it was utilized by the mobile phone technology, you will never get new phones each day with new features, right? Company has to sell it, so they are not providing you a reconfigurable solution. This is the problem. But
But
in later
4G
stages, you will
handset can
definitely see
support
it.
2G, even lower handset, lower generation. This one also, no, sir.
See, sir, lower aspects can be supported definitely by a higher handset. There
Yeah,
is no question about that.
yeah.
But if you want a higher technology to be implemented in the lower handset, it will not be supported, sir.
Okay.
So if you get a phone which was limited to 4G only, but if you have the update, if you install that update, it is updated to a higher version, right? So if
Yeah.
that technology comes into mobile phone, then you just imagine the cost reduction and imagine how much hardware saving we will be able to do.
Fine, sir.
I hope I was able to give you the idea.
Fine, sir.
So I can write one more thing. I can just write DARPA 4.0. This is the latest part. If you see, sorry, uh, it should be DARPA. Now, if you are able to see my screen,
Yes, sir. I'm able to
right,
see.
sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see it? So
Yeah, yeah.
here it is. Industry
Yeah.
DARPA, GNU DARPA, right? DARPA model for transformative technologies. Now these are all models. These are all models given by different things based on DARPA. So this is a system developed by US defense systems, which is talking about SDR and software development kits based on GNU radios, right, sir? So a lot of work is going on. I would request the participants, they can visit these sites for SDR development structures, and they can very well see how effectively we can see, sir. Right now, because this is in infant stages, the point that I want to highlight very effectively is here is that people can develop their products, right, sir? Even the technology right now can be, if it can be tested in real-time systems, it will be very effective for future coming systems. So a lot of work is going on. If you see IEEE transaction papers coming up, they are the transaction papers are normally onto lab testing of 5G structures using this SDR and retina system, right, sir?
Fine, sir.
So this is what I wanted to convey to all the budding researchers who have tried to attend this green technology part. See, a lot of things can be done said about the green technology part. The point is that how we can make a change in this, right? If you can work around, and if you can develop some technology which is not utilizing a lot of energy or even generating its own energy, then it is termed to be as a green technology for coming systems, right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah, dear
So
participants, if you
yes,
have any
sir. So
questions, please
that's
ask
it from my
the
side, sir.
speakers. Yeah, we'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes, sir. If the participants are having any questions,
Right, sir.
they
Sure,
can
sir.
ask.
Sure. Sure, sir. I'm most welcome to answering the question, sir.
Yeah, dear participants, please interact with the speaker. If you have any questions, please ask them. Or else you can ask questions to the participants, sir, from your end, so that you can try to contact somebody.
Sir, I tried to. The part is again. The initially part was that I asked them questions and they replied also.
Yeah.
So if now, because I have already finished out what I had to say, if there are any doubts, anything that they want to ask, any particular journal they want to ask, which is helping in publishing these things, right? So I've already given one, and I've already shown my paper itself, right? And this WPC is having an impact factor of almost 1.7 now. So there are IEEE transactions on 5G networks or wireless communications which are publishing these papers. So you can definitely visit that and see what is happening in this particular area, right, sir? So why I'm stressing on this is that once you analyze how world is moving over on these technologies, then only you will be able to work on them. If you're not even knowing the names, then it will be very difficult. So I think they can write in the chat box also, while earlier people were doing. If there are no questions, sir, then that's it from my side. I think so. I hope you're able to hear my voice.
Yes, sir, I am able to hear, sir.
Right,
Thank
sir.
you,
Right,
sir.
sir.
Thank
Right,
you very much for sharing your knowledge and spending time with us. I thank you very much for accepting
sir.
our request.
I'm thankful to you, sir, for inviting me over, and I hope I was of some use to your program.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, dear participants, attendance link will be shared in the chat box. Please fill the attendance for today's session.